This is the first what I eat in a day video that I've ever done, and now that I've been off the vegan diet for months and months, it'll be a little interesting to show you guys what I've been consuming. I've been loosely following in the footsteps of Agenus Vonderplanet's, kind of a raw primal style diet. It's in no way, shape, or form exactly how he did it, but it's somewhat similar. And in this video, I'm going to show you what I'm eating. I'm going to show you my dinner later, which is going to be a lot of raw, wild-caught salmon. I'm going to eat some raw eggs as well. I've got some carrot juice and some other things that I'll show you throughout this video. It's probably going to be pretty long. I've never actually done one of these videos before, so if you're interested in seeing what I've been kind of eating lately, then watch this video and check it out and let me know what you think. I'll make some shorter ones in the near future, but for the first what I eat in a day video, I'm going to make it a little longer. Show you my juicer and some of the other supplements that I'm taking as well. Now, before we continue, I just want to say that this is in no way, shape, or form how I'm eating every day. I'm eating cooked foods as well. I am doing my 70-30 split diet, but I'm closer to about 95-5. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, check the link in the description box below and learn more about the 70-30 split, where you eat 70% of your calories from whole foods, 30% whatever you want, and then as you get used to this, you interim your way up to 80-20 split, 90-10 split, and then what I'm currently doing, it's about 95-5, so sometimes about 99-1. So again, you guys some of you might think that this is absolutely disgusting that I'm going to be eating raw fish, but this is wild caught, loaded full of nutrients, folks. My brother caught this salmon, and I'm going to talk in this video about how some of the flaws of veganism, some of the things that I fell into. It's very common for the average vegan to think that, oh, you took the life of a fish, you're such a bad person. Well, you take lives when you eat a vegan diet, folks. You do, whether you like to believe that or not. Again, hundreds of thousands of acres of wild land was decimated and leveled out so that monocropped agriculture can be brought in. What about all the lives lost from the combine harvesters and the wheat threshers, you name it? What about all the microbes in what about the soil and all the death that is caused from the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, larvicides? Get real. So yeah, I'm eating some raw salmon, some raw meat, but one salmon, I can live for weeks off of that, whereas I have to buy a ton of vegetables and produce to get through that same week. And the produce that I'm eating, there are lives lost from that as well, whether you like to believe that or not. So instinctually, the way I'm eating right now works. It's just, I'm very drawn to it. My body's been craving this type of food the last couple of months, and I've been eating this way. I've been eating a lot of raw eggs. I've been eating some cheese as well, but unfortunately I don't have as much raw cheese as I would like. I've got some cheese that my brother smoked that I have here in California, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'm gonna have some of that later with the raw salmon. So let's just get right into it. Let's not make this introduction really lengthy. I love you all, and may peace be with you.
Alright guys, what is going on? I keep getting requests to do a full day of eating video, and this isn't really my style, but I figured I'd try it. Why not? So now that I'm off the vegan diet, let's do a full day of eating, just an example of what one of my days looks like. Now, again, as I've mentioned, I still consume fruit, I still consume vegetables, but I do consume animal products now. So let's just dive right into it. It's morning, I've had some coffee. This is coffee that was made with distilled water, and I have put a little bit of baking soda in this. I drank from the top this morning. This was full. So I do drink black coffee. Yerba mate is another good choice for those who don't want to drink coffee but still want to get some caffeine. Yerba mate is actually my preferred caffeine source, but the last few batches that I've bought online didn't taste right. They tasted off and I sent them back. So coffee, I'm a huge fan of caffeine as well, but that's besides the point. So I'm going to do some fasting today, and this is probably going to be a pretty boring video. I've got some carrot juice here that I pressed last night with the Tribest Z-Star. This is a wheatgrass juicer. I've had this for years. This is an awesome unit. And what it does, you guys, is it clamps onto the side of a counter It's got this little rubber grip so you can get a really tight fit. And then you just attach these pieces, and it uses an auger to squeeze juice through this filter. Now this is years old and it's a little dirty, and it looks like I need to clean it a little bit better. But this is an awesome juicer, you guys. This is a hand crank juicer. The only problem is that this is pretty much a 5-pound bag of carrots. I shit you not. There's probably about 4 pounds left, and this is all the juice that I got out of that bag of carrots from this juicer. You're going to get more juice from a centrifugal juicer, but I really do love the way juice tastes with an auger style juicer. Juicers like the Green Stars or the Omegas, or even a hand crank juicer, an auger style juicer, they produce such better juice than the centrifugal juicers. But the centrifugal juicers that spin the blade at a really high RPM, you're going to get more juice out of them typically. It depends on what the produce you're using as well. So I'm going to sip on this if I get any hunger cravings throughout the day that, you know, I want to satiate. I'll probably end up saving this until tomorrow though. We'll see. And another thing I'll do during my day if I'm fasting and I have, you know, some work to get done and I need some fuel, I need some, maybe I'm going to go on like a bike ride or whatnot, or get some exercise. I don't always like exercise fasting or fasted, and I don't think it's always safe. So Kirkland or Costco has this raw honey right now. It was like $8.99 for 3 of these. So I'm not saying that this is the best honey. Right now I'm looking to get some local honey as well. Costco actually had some local honey, but it was all super crystallized and I needed something a little bit easier to work with. So I'm a huge fan of honey like Manuka honey. There's just so many different varieties. So I'll take a couple of tablespoons throughout the day if I get a hunger craving. So again, it's morning. I've had some coffee. I'll drink a little bit of water throughout the day. I've got some distilled water here with some shungite pieces on the bottom. That's way too much shungite. I would suggest if you're just starting to restructure your distilled water with shungite, only use like 3 little pieces. And here's a quick little tip for those who want to make juice but don't want to buy a juicer just yet. You can go to like Goodwill stores and find really cheap juicers. Now I didn't find this Ninja at the Goodwill store. This was a birthday gift years ago, and this at the time was I think over $100. This is actually a really awesome juicer or blender. It's got suction cups on the bottom, which is cool because it holds it tight while it's on because this thing spins really fast. But what you can do is you can take, for instance, carrots, chop them up really fine, add some water, blend your carrots, and then run the blended material through a nut milk bag and squeeze it really tight. And you can have yourself some juice. This is a nut milk bag. This is, I can't remember which brand. I think this is Ellie's nut milk bag. It's what it's called. They were like $8 on Amazon. So you run your produce through a blender with some water, and then you squeeze your juice out, and you have some juice. Now, it's not as good as this fine-pressed, auger-pressed, organic grape juice. What am I saying? Carrot juice. But when there's a will, there's a way. I saw the other day at the Goodwill store blenders that worked for like $3.99. And if you get a little creative, you can take the plastic blender vessels that they come with, and you can get a new, not a grommet, like the piece, what is it, a washer, a rubber washer that goes on the outside, and you can take mason jars and fit them with a new washer or grommet to actually fit on top of the blender so you're not using glass. So I'm not going to get into that in this video. Just a brief little tip. You can learn about that on YouTube. And I'm also, throughout the day, I'm going to have a cup or two, maybe, probably just one today, of the Shazandra during the 100 Days of Shazandra Challenge. Pretty basic. I'll also take some magnesium. I'll show you guys what I supplement today. But that's pretty much it. This is what I'm going to be consuming until later this evening. And later this evening, I'm going to have a raw primal style diet, or dinner. I'm going to have some of the wild caught salmon that my brother caught. I'm going to eat it raw. I'm going to have some raw eggs, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm going to Drink carrot juice if I get a hunger craving. I've got some honey. I'm not saying that this is the best honey in the world. Doing the best that I can with what I've got. And whenever I make tea, I always use a little teapot. And I let it kind of cool. I like to drink the cooler liquids. I don't really like to drink Shazandra hot. Sometimes I do, but more often than not, I'll just drink it cool. So that pretty much makes up the day, other than some supplementation. Pretty boring, I know. But it's also very basic, very simple. Alright guys, so I've got all of this salmon here that my brother caught. This is all wild caught, and there's so much of this. Normally at the store this would be so fucking expensive. And the camera doesn't really do it justice, but this color is beautiful. So this is unfortunately frozen. But it is what it is. I'm going to cut this in half and probably take half of this out while it's still partially frozen. These pieces down here are pretty much frozen still. I'll probably take these two pieces out, throw them in a bag, and throw them back into the freezer because I cannot eat all of this. And I don't really want to eat all of this all at once either. So, yeah, we'll do that. So this is still partially frozen. And this will probably be what I'll eat tonight as well as into tomorrow night. So I'll have some of this tonight with some eggs and maybe a couple of other things. I don't know yet, but yeah, I'm just gonna put the lid on this and throw it in the refrigerator. It's just the wrong lid. I'm gonna throw it into the refrigerator once it thaws out a little bit more, you guys. So yeah, wild caught salmon. You know, the vegans might be flipping out because I've made such a radical change. Always remember, you guys, never be afraid to make radical changes when you have information that shows you why or shows you the merit in making a change. Just because you're a vegan right now, just because you've subscribed to a certain way of thinking, that doesn't mean that you have to be there forever. That's kind of cult-like, is it not? Somebody recently got on my channel and said, "Oh, you know, Brandon, what the fuck, man? A little consistency would be nice, bro. Once you make a decision, stick with it." I stayed plant-based and vegan for years and years on end. I've ran my course with it. I've stayed consistent. And it's time for me to make a change. So don't ever be the type of person to try to hold someone down and tell them that they cannot change. And I was one of those people at one point. So, again, it's okay to make change. Never feel forced to stay in something that you don't feel like you should be staying in. Now, unlike most ex-vegans, I'm not against the vegan diet. I think that if done properly, it can be one of the greatest elimination diets there is. One of the greatest detox diets that there is. But again, consistency. That would be like someone who took an NSAID for, I don't know, maybe knee pain their whole life, and they thought it was good for them, and then they found information that it was actually bad for them. Would that be a bad thing that the person got off the medication to pursue something else, or should they stay consistent just because you want them to? Get real. Again, this one salmon, there was so much meat on it, and it will feed me for well over a week. That we have probably 10, 15 pieces or freezer bags of salmon. One life can feed a family or feed me for well over a week, probably 2 weeks. Or I can go buy all my vegetables and my produce and, you know, my bananas that were shipped in from Ecuador. The people are like slaves over there for the banana trade. You should look up what bananas are doing to the environment. You want to talk about saving animals? Let's look at how many animals... Let's look at the die-off and what's happened to the natural ecosystem from all the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and larvicides. I don't need to hear it. So if you have a problem with the way I eat, I do not care. I don't. I have no guilt, no regret whatsoever. So let's just continue this video. Alright guys, so my juicer, my Breville Juice Fountain Elite, is in Virginia, and I'm in California visiting family right now. And I've had this for years, and I leave it here for a backup juicer, and this really is one of my favorite juicers. I just want to show you how this works, because this TriBest Z-Star, they're a little expensive. I believe the new ones are about $130, and they're new and improved. This is an older model, but this is an excellent juicer for someone who, you know, just needs something really basic. The electric juicers are awesome, but what's beautiful about this style juicer, you guys, is that it uses an auger, and it slowly presses the juice through this filter, and you don't get a lot of froth. The centrifugal juicers, they spin really fast, and they have a blade that moves at a high RPM. And although you get a ton of juice out of it, it tends to aerate the juice a lot, and it turns the juice really frothy. For instance, I don't even enjoy drinking orange juice if it's made with a centrifugal juicer, just because the orange just turns into like a bunch of foam. This makes a very clean juice without a lot of froth. But, you know, unfortunately with things like carrots, you're not going to get a whole lot of juice out of the carrots if you're using a juicer like this. So I would suggest, this is a wheatgrass juicer. I happen to use it for all sorts of different produce and fruit. It works wonderful, and it's worked for years. You can even take this off, this handle, and you can attach a drill, a power drill to the end, and turn it on, and it'll spin the auger. So again, this is just I'm just sharing this with you because some people, this might work wonders for them. And what's cool about this is you can travel with it. Whereas the electric juicers, you can't really travel with them unless you've got a power source. So if you're going camping and if you have a table where you can attach this to, that's awesome. And you see here on the side, I'll show you how it clamps. So it's got this clamp right here that you can adjust, and it attaches to your countertop. So I just want to show you how easy this is and how it works, because I have got a lot of questions about this juicer in the past. So this is from a Champion juicer from the past. This does not come with this juicer. It comes with a little plastic piece, which I'm not a fan of. So I took this off our Champion juicer. We've had so many juicers over the years. We've had Omegas. We've had different wheatgrass juicers. We've had different Breville juicers, centrifugals, Jack LaLanne juicers, and you guys really should get on the juice. It's a great way to get enzymes into your system. You know, and for $5 a bag, $4 to $5 a bag, you can get a giant bag of carrots. Carrot juice is really good for the liver. It's really good for your skin. It's full of enzymes, you name it. So I even like potato juice is really good. So let me just show you how this works. So this just attaches like this, and you turn that. This back a little bit. Then you take your auger, attach that. You take your filter, this is what the juice squeezes through, attach that. Then you take this piece, which is this is a little dirty, but this is what your pulp is going to come out of. And then you just attach it like this. Boom. And then this Champion juicer wood piece works so perfect for this. And you just push down on your produce while you're spinning, and the juice comes out of here and your pulp comes out of here. So what I normally do, you guys, is I take a glass like that, and I'll take a mason jar and I'll put it underneath the juicer, the outlet for the juice. So as you spin this and push down on this, the juice comes out of here as it squeezes through this filter, and the pulp comes out of this. Go on, Luna. So what's really cool about this too, you guys, is that you can save all your pulp. So when I have a chicken coop here in the near future, I'm going to save all my pulp and feed it to my chickens. So you can also compost this as well. It's a good way to reuse what you're using. So again, it's the TriBest Z-Star. Just a little addition to this, full day of eating video, since I'm not going to be doing a lot of eating today, just to make things a little bit more interesting. Alright guys, so it's noon, still fasted, and I'm editing some video and some stuff is rendering, so I need something to do. So I'm going to make Luna some dog food. People have asked me what do I feed her in the past, and right now she's on a mixture of dry kibble, some really expensive good kibble, but the bulk of her intake comes from home-cooked food, home-cooked meat, as well as some raw meat. So I've had people ask me in the past, why don't you feed Luna just completely raw meat? And the answer is that her in her older years, she's pretty picky about the raw meat. She'll eat raw beef, she'll even eat some raw lamb, but it's kind of hit and miss. And if I cook it, she'll usually eat it. So I try to give her a mixture of both. So this is a big piece of pork, the bone in. Oops, part of the bone in. And I'm not going to bake it. I'm not going to cook it some traditional way. I'm going to make it the way she likes it. I'm going to chop this up. I'm going to leave most of the fat on, and I'll put the bone in there probably as well. And I'm going to boil this until it's tender, and then I'll add some rice and maybe some other stuff. I've been doing this recipe for years, or for probably about 2 years. I've been making a similar recipe to this, but usually I use beef. You can use London broil, but there's some other fattier cuts that work better. So for about $20, I can get a big giant piece of beef with a lot of the fat in, and I cut it into cubes. I'll boil it in water for about an hour, and then I'll add carrots and celery and potatoes. That's it, and maybe a little pinch of thyme and some salt. And after it's cooked in water for an hour, I'll add all my produce in, and I'll cook it for another hour, and it comes out really tender. So I'm going to do the same thing with the pork. This is much cheaper than beef. I prefer buying Luna the beef, but I was on kind of a stricter budget this month, so I've got to do what I can with what I've got. I don't think I have any potatoes, or I don't even think I have any produce in the refrigerator right now other than stuff that she shouldn't be eating. So I might just end up making the pork kind of like a stew with some rice, and we'll see what else we have. But yeah, let's get right into it. All right, guys, so I've cut quite a bit of the meat off of the larger piece. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start cooking this on medium. I'm going to see how much fat comes out of this meat. And depending on how much fat comes out, I might take a little bit out. We'll see. If I have really fatty meat and I make it into a stew for Luna, what I'll more often than not do is I'll just add some rice and some vegetables, and I'll just feed her the stew without a little bit of kibble. So, I'd like to be able to feed her like this constantly, just home-cooked food, but sometimes I can't either afford it or, I'm not a huge fan of kibble, but she does get really good kibble, and I soak her kibble overnight so that it's not really dry. There's a huge problem, you guys, with dry dog food. Dry dog food is not good for an animal or a dog's stomach. You want to soak your dog's food if you're giving your dog kibble with clean water 12 to 24 hours before you feed your dog. It's a little trick I learned from a vet years ago. Now, ideally, dogs, in my opinion, should be eating raw meat as well as some cooked meat, depending on whether or not he or she will eat the food. But Luna was raised before I became conscious to the importance of eating dogs raw meat and just mostly meat in general. So she's really picky at this point. So I've got to do what works best with her palate, and she really likes the kibble. But again, you guys, you want to make sure to soak your kibble. I've seen dogs with horrible digestive issues fix all of their digestive issues just by having soaked kibble. The kibble will actually soak up the water, and it'll be really soft. A lot of dogs eat kibble whole, and imagine just swallowing multiple dry kibbles whole. The stuff's gonna start absorbing fluid in the stomach. Not good. Not good at all. So I'm gonna start cooking this, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. So I've managed to get quite a bit of the meat off this bone. I'm gonna keep working at it to get it all off. Why not? And if you look over here, this has been cooking for about 7 minutes. So you can see the fat building up on the bottom. We'll see what that looks like after about 20 minutes of cooking. I might drain some of the fat off, I'm not sure. And if I do, I'll save it. But yeah, after this cooks a little bit longer, I'm gonna add some water or some broth, and then I'm gonna boil it for about an hour, and we'll see how tender it is after that. It's probably gonna need an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so this has been cooking for about 10 to 12 minutes, give or take, and I've got some homemade broth here that I'm gonna add just to boil it in. I'm not gonna add all of it. I'm actually gonna add some water that's laced with shungite essence to this also. So I'm gonna bring that up to a boil now, and then we'll add a little bit of water. Or I'm gonna add some water and then we'll bring it up to a boil. I've got some shungite water over here. So this is distilled water that's been remineralized. It's been vortex, it's been exposed to moonlight, and it's got some shungite in it. And I'm just gonna bring it up to about a little more than half, and I'm gonna start boiling this. So the timer went off, and this has been cooking for an hour, and it's pretty damn tender, but I want it to get a little bit more tender. Now you may be wondering, why did you add so much broth and water? I want to cook some of the fat off into the water so I can drain a little bit out, and I want to save some of the liquid as well so that I can soak her dog food in it so it infuses into the dog food. So yeah, I'm gonna cook this probably 25 more minutes, and then I'll cook some rice. I don't really have any vegetables to add right now, unfortunately, so I'm gonna make some white rice for Luna, and then I'll add this to her food. Very simple, very basic, easy peasy, bada boom. So this is done. I'm gonna add some rice to that later, which is in here. The rice just finished cooking. This is white basmati rice. The key, you guys, to good rice is once it's done cooking, never open the lid. Let it sit for at least 30 minutes after it's done cooking without the lid, you know, coming off. A lot of people are like constantly checking on their rice. That's how you make rice crunchy. 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice, at least with white rice. Bring it to a boil, put it on low, cover it, let it cook for 20 minutes. Then once it's done, remove it from the heat, let it sit for 30 minutes. So easy dog food for Luna. I'm not saying that this is a complete, complete nourishment, but I'm just showing you what I'm doing today. I don't have much planned, so I was just gonna make her some food and some stuff. It's about 3 p.m. and I'm starting to get a little hungry, so I'm gonna have some carrot juice. Not too much, just a little bit. I'll see how I feel after that. And if I'm still hungry, I'll probably have maybe just like 1 or 2 raw eggs, or maybe I'll just have a tablespoon or 2 of honey. So when I'm intermittent fasting and I get hungry, I try to consume just juice because it allows me to get the benefits of fasting. If I eat food, it kind of technically breaks you out of a fast, and even consuming carrot juice, because there's so many carbs and sugars, it kind of, by definition, that'll take you out of a fast. But I've found that if you're intermittent fasting, even if you consume fluids with sugars, even if you consume fluids with carbohydrates, if you don't mix that with food, you'll still stay in fat burning mode. So it is what it is. I intuitively fast. I don't do it every day. If I think I need something, if I think I need juice, I'll have some. If I think I need honey or something else, I'll have that too. It's important not to get yourself stuck in a, like, I have to follow this schedule every single day. No, listen to your body. And my body's telling me right now that it wants some carrot juice. This was fresh pressed last night with the Tribest Z-Star. And I've got a little bit more. I'll probably try to save that for tomorrow or tonight. I don't want to drink it all at once. You really don't need all that much juice. I see all these people online making these juices that are like literally fucking like 40 ounces and they're chugging it. That's insane to me. So this is cold right now because it's been in the fridge, and I'm going to swoosh every single bite until each sip is warm. That way it doesn't shock my system when it gets into my stomach. You don't want to guzzle cold fluids. For months I've been consuming a lot of raw eggs. This is currently what I'm consuming. And I just wanted to show you something else I've been munching on quite a bit. This is some really high quality smoked cheese that my brother made in his smoker.
So I'm not saying that these are the best eggs. These are from Costco. I just got a paycheck and I'm gonna go try to find the blue eggs. I think it's from Heritage Farms. I could be wrong. They're really high quality eggs. They're like $8 a dozen, but I'm gonna go try to find some. But ideally, you guys, if you're gonna be consuming raw eggs, make sure they're organic and try to get them, if you can, from like a neighbor that has chickens or someone in the neighborhood. Because this mass-produced stuff, it's not the best. These chickens are not fed the best feed. A lot of the chickens, at least according to my research, are fed like soy, and the fat ratios are all fucked up in the eggs because of what they're fed. So this is what I'm consuming right now, though. I'm not going to have any right now. I'm going to have some with dinner. They are from Costco. I think these are like $3.99 for all of these. But you can tell just by looking at the shell that they're not the best quality eggs. But for those who are wondering, or may be wondering, what type of raw eggs I'm consuming, right now I'm doing this. And again, not the best, but definitely better than the conventional stuff from Walmart or etc. And I'm going to have some of this tonight with the raw salmon and the eggs. This is smoked cheddar. My brother got a huge block of it and smoked it in his smoker and then vacuum sealed it. All right, guys, so it's 3:10. The carrot juice did not fill me up enough. I had about a tablespoon of honey as well, and I just feel like I need something more substantial. So I'm just going to have 2 raw eggs. Now, I'm not recommending that you do this. I'm just showing you what I do and what works for me. A lot of people are afraid to death of eating raw animal products, so it is what it is. So I'm just going to crack these. Normally, I just crack or tap them with my teeth and then suck the egg out of the actual yolk and the egg white out of the egg. I know a lot of people think that's disgusting, but I don't see much difference in a raw egg and a cooked egg. It's just a texture thing and how you're raised. So we've got to question our obsessive approach towards food. This is much healthier, at least in my opinion. This way, these eggs are so much healthier for you raw. And they fill me up a hell of a lot more, and I just feel much better on raw eggs. So I'm just going to crack both of these. But again, normally I'll tap the end and then smack it with my teeth and just suck the egg right out. And when I eat raw eggs, I put them in my mouth and I swish them and I break the yolk up and I mix it with my saliva. Again, a lot of people are going to think that this is absolutely disgusting. I don't care. So this will be my kind of midday snack or small meal. A cup of carrot juice, a tablespoon of raw honey, and 2 raw eggs. Every once in a while, you'll make a major score, and today was definitely one of those. I was going to go to Trader Joe's to try to find these, but about a fifth of the way through the ride to get there, I just had this hunch to go to Sprouts Farmers Market, and I went there, and they had these for $7.99 a pound, or a pound, what am I saying, a dozen. And unfortunately, the camera does not do these eggs justice. These are a blue color. I mentioned these earlier in the video. You don't just get all blue, you get these other eggs, and they're absolutely beautiful. The yolks on these are like orange, you guys. But here's kind of one that's pink. These are the best eggs, I think, on the market. So I got these for $7.99 a pound, and I wasn't going to the store to get honey, but I was wanting to get some more honey just to stock up on it. And these were $12.99 a piece, marked down to 99 cents a piece. So I got all of this food for $10. This would have been $42 roughly, or more than that. It would have been close to $50 if these wouldn't have been on sale. So look around, shop a bit, you guys. Find your staples and stock up on them. And honey is definitely one of my staples. Honey and eggs right now makes a huge majority of my diet, as well as sprouts and some other living foods and some meats, you name it. So again, look at that. I'm gonna eat every single one of these raw. I am definitely not gonna cook these. And I mean, just look at the color, you guys. So I don't know why these were on sale. There was this same company had like 4 different types of honey. This is the Jamu honey. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if this isn't a good brand or not, and that's why it's on sale, but the other ones were still $12.99 a piece. The other formulas, they had like a darker one, and so maybe I didn't make a good score. Maybe these aren't good, but they look decent. So I'm gonna look it up. Either way, if these aren't good, it was only a $3 investment, but I'm pretty sure this is really high quality honey. I mean, look at this. USDA organic, non-GMO,
What does this say? Does that say glyphosate free? Yep. Glyphosate residue free. So this is good honey. So there was 4 of these available. I'm considering going back and getting the, I left one for someone else. Maybe they wanted the score, but I think I'm going to go back and get it, you guys. Check that out. Major score. So I went back to Sprouts and got the remaining 2 jars of this honey. All of this was under $5. So I've rarely seen this glyphosate residue free logo on any honey, especially in Virginia. There's a bigger variety of honey now that I'm visiting family here in California. California's full of health foods. There's a lot of health conscious people here, but there's some labels on here that I've never actually seen in honey that I've eaten before. So that was a motivating factor. This would have been 61 something or $60. I got it for $5. So, you know, I felt kind of bad taking all of them, but this is a primary fuel source of mine now. I eat a lot of honey. I get a lot of carbohydrates and sugars and calories from this. This is the only sweetener that I actually use. And it's something that I'll just literally take bites out of. I've opened this one. So I'll eat a few tablespoons or more a day, sometimes even a half cup of honey. So again, I felt kind of bad taking all of them, but got to do what you got to do, you guys. When you find deals like this, go for it. And I just wanted to make a statement about these eggs. This is a very special, rare treat for me. I do not normally eat eggs that are this expensive. I normally don't have the extra coin to afford to eat like this. This is really expensive. But, you know, every once in a while, you've got to treat yourself. And these are high-quality eggs from chickens that are loved. And look at the color of that one. It's like a pink. The lighting kind of sucks in here. That's much better. That's a really beautiful looking egg. This color, something about it is just really speaks to me. My body wants these eggs. So these are fucking phenomenal raw. They taste so good. Your brain is going to light up when you eat these. So, I mean, dairy dairy, eggs, and honey these are 3 of my main fuel sources. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this part up. Let's take Luna to the field and get some exercise. All right, guys, it's close to 5 p.m. here in California and the sun is going down. Got a lot of work done today and I'm doing my daily grounding now. I try to do this daily for at least 30 minutes. So just a brief little message before we wrap this video up. Make a daily commitment to your health. A lot of people don't even do one thing every day for their health. It's an absolute embarrassment. So I see a lot of people fretting over their muscles, fretting over their figure. I see a lot of people on these really restrictive diets and just constantly obsessing over their weight and their appearance because they want to fit in with culture and I want to look good in my Speedo or my bikini, yada, yada, yada. Most people approach health or approach fitness for vanity. They want to look good. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I believe that the majority of the United States population, a large majority, not all of them, but I believe a lot of them would sacrifice their health just to look good. So what I try to teach here on this channel is the basics. Don't worry about your weight right now. Worry about eating the right foods. Get on the 70-30 split. Start grounding yourself daily. 15 minutes a day, barefoot, walking on the dirt or the grass, minimum 15 minutes, preferably 30 to an hour. Start blocking the blue light, get your minerals up. Do something with your animals. A lot of you guys have pets and you're not doing anything with them. Come on, guys. Just start living right and everything else will fall into place. So, a daily commitment to exercising. You know, I see people all the time fretting over, oh, I need to lift more weights and I need to run so that I can look good and yada, yada, yada. What's most important with your health, you guys, is not an immediate fix to look good. It's you getting the basics, the foundations of the basics laid. And you will never get the foundations, you will never get the basics of health to be part of your life. You will never integrate health into your life if you don't get the basics met. Excuse me, that was a mouthful. So grounding is a large majority of that.
We're designed to spend time outside. We're designed to be under the blue sky. We're designed to breathe fresh air. We're designed to swim in fresh bodies of water, natural bodies of water. We're designed to be connected to the earth, folks. And what do people do when they exercise? More often than not, they're in a non-grounded room, disconnected from the earth, underneath artificial fluorescent lighting that's frying their hormones and their photoreceptors. It's just highly unnatural. You know, the deeper I go into this, it's like the deeper I realize that the 99% of what we've been doing the last 150 to 200 years is wrong. And it even goes beyond that time frame. So anyways, brief little message before we wrap this video up. Make a commitment to your health. Stop worrying about your weight. Stop worrying about your figure. Get on the 70-30 split. Start eating right. Get the minerals back into your system. Ground yourself. Attenuate the lighting in your home. And over time, everything will work itself out. They want you stressed. They want you worried about your figure. They want you, you know, it's just so unnatural the way we live. So I'm just going to wrap this one up by saying that. We live highly unnatural lives. You don't have to. But if you want to unplug from that synthetic way of living, you got to get outside, plant your feet on the ground, and get some sun on your skin. Peace be with you. So before I head home to make dinner, I just wanted to touch up upon something. People seem to think that a vegan diet doesn't cause harm to animals. You see, when you buy your produce at the store, you don't see a dead carcass. You don't. But what you don't also see when you buy your produce at the store is how your food got to your plate, got into your possession. I've gone over this for over a year in many videos of mine about how hundreds of thousands of acres have been decimated. Wild land has been decimated so that fields, farms, etc. can be set up so that food can be monocropped. Big agricultural companies in bed with the chemical companies have destroyed a massive amount of the earth's wild sacred land so that you could have your genetically engineered, hybridized, pesticide-riddled, herbicide, larvicide, and insecticide-riddled vegetables grown for your vegan diet. Now on top of that, those pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and larvicides do massive amounts of damage to the natural biosphere, to the soils, to the microbes in the soil. And again, what do you think happens when they go and they clear all the land out to grow these vegetables? What about all the plants that are wiped out, the trees, the species that live there, the insects, the mice? All of that stuff gets cleared so that the farms, big agricultural companies, can come in and monocrop things. And then, there's a ton of invasive species that come in to try to eat the vegetation as it's growing. And a lot of these invasive species, the rabbits, you name it, are killed. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them. So apparently vegans only care about chickens, eggs, and pigs. Chickens, pigs, and cows. It's been a long day, because they don't care about the insects. They don't care about the mice and all the animals that get killed in the combine harvesters. They don't care about all of the die-off from the insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, larvicides. They don't care about the hundreds of thousands upon hundreds of thousands upon hundreds of thousands of acres of land that has been decimated so that big agricultural companies can come in and clear all the land out and the species that live there so that they can grow vegetables. So again, when you get your produce, when it gets on your plate, when you have your grains or your rice, you don't see the suffering that comes from that. You just don't. And it makes it very easy to assume that someone who's eating a dead animal is a bad person. It's very easy to fall into that trap. I used to be one of them. So I've crunched the numbers. The way that I live my life now, the way that I eat now, I cause less suffering than a typical vegan, so I don't need to hear it. Just a brief little message. Veganism is not as black and white as you think it is, folks. There's a lot of context, there's a lot of stuff in between that a lot of people don't want to talk about. A lot of the vegans don't want to talk about what's going on, and they don't want to talk about the truth. So This was a hard pill for me to swallow, but I'm so glad that I did, because I'd rather know the truth than believe a lie. Alright guys, so this is part of my dinner tonight. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't really do it justice, but this fish is beautiful. This is wild caught. I'll show you guys on the screen after this video the beautiful skin on this salmon. This is a very healthy salmon. So I've got some butter here. It's grass-fed, but this fucking flashlight on this camera makes it look purely white. And I've got some smoked cheese that my brother smoked, and I've got some raw eggs. Now, this isn't 100% raw, but as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm doing partially raw, partially cooked. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have more salmon later, more cheese, and a couple more eggs. But that's just a rough idea of what I'm eating. And I'm sure there'll be I'll have some honey later, and maybe some raw milk. I'm not 100% sure, but here we go. I wanted to personally thank you for watching my videos and contributing to the growth of my channel. I could not do this without you, and your interest in my content is truly what motivates me and fuels my passion for making these videos and spreading my message. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wanted to remind you that this channel is a free educational tool that is listener supported, and if you would like to donate to my channel and donate to my cause, help make my life a little bit easier and help keep the lights on around here, you can do so by checking out the links in the description box below. There's a handful of not only ways to donate to my channel, but I also have links to different websites and different videos of mine, as well as my Amazon store, where you can check out a plethora of different health-related products that I use and recommend. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your continued interest in my message, and until next time, peace be with you all.